United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg. One thing I promised you is an all-access pass that you wouldn't get on any other show. And we found out that whoever comes on scores a goal. Burhope, Freeman, Trusty. U.S. Soccer Podcast magic is real, people. We still got plenty of coverage all throughout this World Cup. Okay, let's get into it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henco. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
11 o'clock, three-man front. Landrum, Pat, Conrad, and Molly. Rodney Orr of TiderInsider coming up momentarily. Appreciate your interaction on the text line. We got Rob Pate talking Auburn later in the hour. Just a reminder, next week beginning 6 a.m. on Monday morning with Morning Jocks, Conrad and Damian Mitchell getting everything started. We're going to have wall-to-wall coverage of SEC Media Days. You're not going to miss a thing, and a nice tune-up for the college football season. Mandu, if you want to get tuned up, if you want to feel good about yourself, you want to look good, you can do it. Not that you don't already look good, but if there's some trouble areas like I had that you want to address, you can do it with Mandu. Mandu is electrical muscle stimulation fitness, boutique fitness at its finest. It's in downtown Homewood, but it's a 15-minute workout, all FDA approved. It doesn't hurt. 15 minutes at Mandu is actually the equivalent to 6 hours in a gym. I can't explain all the technology, but what I can tell you is it works. You'll get results, and your first visit is free. Mandu in downtown Homewood, MANDUU.com. 2 U's, Mandu, MANDUU.com. Paul is the owner. He's got a great training staff. Make sure you tell him Landrum from Jock sent you.
A lot to get into with our next guest. Rodney Orr from TiderInsider joins us every Thursday here on Three Man Front. He joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Rodney, I hope you're doing well on this Thursday. Let's start with the big news that came out yesterday as Bama flips in-state wide receiver from Auburn, Cedrick Simmons. Was that a big shock to you?
No, not necessarily. There'd been some chatter about it, obviously, but I think initially when he was kind of making his decision between Alabama and Auburn, there was a little bit of back and forth there. And I did think at one point it was probably going to be Alabama, and then it committed to Auburn. Obviously, I think it was like June 23rd or whatever, and makes a quick flip now to Alabama. Now, I will say this, and you guys are really familiar with this. When you're talking about an Alabama-Auburn battle in state, and it's kind of gone back and forth, I'm not going to say that he's not firmly committed to Alabama at all. I think right now that does seem to be the case. But when you have historically looking at this, these things can go back and forth, as you guys know. But it does seem like right now, at least, that he's seems to be firmly committed in his decision.
Well, what you've been able to gather, and it might be very limited, Rodney, and we understand that. But what is kind of the clincher as to why maybe Alabama is more favorable right now for him than Auburn?
Well, again, it could be a lot of things. I think that maybe Alabama stepped up a little bit more potentially with the NIL offer, made him more of a priority since he has committed to Auburn. Not that he wasn't a priority, but, they showed him that he was. And I think that certainly probably contributed to it. He does say he's been a lifelong Alabama fan. That might contribute to some extent in it. So I think there were probably several things that were working favorably for Alabama, in this switch. So, but we'll see. Again, I think he's firmly committed, but we've seen before how these things can go back and forth, especially in the state.
Okay, so there was one theory that a lot of people were texting into the show yesterday because there's going to be a big announcement tomorrow, and it's Monshun Sales, outstanding 5-star wide receiver. It's between Texas, Bama, Indiana, Ohio State, and LSU. Some people were texting us yesterday saying, well, this is a harbinger or a warning sign because by Alabama getting the flip yesterday at the wide receiver position, that maybe Alabama does not feel confident that they can get Sales tomorrow. Is that something that is a legitimate concern, or do you think Bama's in to the very last minute with Sales?
Well, I think maybe there's been some speculation that I've heard too, that Alabama realizes that Sales is not very likely at all. And maybe the commitment that they were going to have for him in terms of NIL, they could kind of redirect it somewhere else. in this case, Simmons, perhaps. And again, that's just speculation. I mean, it does make sense. It's logical, I guess. But I would think that when you look at Sales, I don't expect that, even though I know the communication with Alabama is still there. Certainly he's got the ties to the state, being originally from the Birmingham area. So I think all of those things certainly still keep Alabama alive, if you want to put it that way. But I think probably I think it's the most logical thing right now is to think that Indiana is going to be tough to beat there.
What do you think the price, just taking a guess at I'm guessing a 2-year deal for a player like Monshun Sales? I took a guess and I said $5 million.
Really? Wow. So you're saying about like 2.5 a year?
Yeah, for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that could be, man. I don't know, man. The numbers are just so crazy. They're hard to predict because, I've seen some numbers that I thought were really kind of out there, but I knew just talking to a few people close to the situations that they were accurate. I mean, guys that you were saying, okay, they're probably right now not really considered great SEC players that are getting to transfer in the portal. So it's a little different, but they were getting like $1.5 million and you're like, oh, wow, or $2 million guaranteed. And, they really hadn't proven themselves. So the money does sound like it's really big.
Rodney, we have talked to you incessantly about the philosophy of this Alabama football program for this recruiting class. It's been well documented. You're the one that put us onto this a couple months ago that, hey, don't Alabama fans don't need to freak out. You're only going to get probably anywhere between 12 and 15 guys in this recruiting class, and people are still trying to wrap their head around it. But I want to ask you about this particular football program and their philosophy, because it appears to me that now they're more about projecting physical traits than actual football ability currently. Is that a safe statement in regards to development?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it, regardless. But yes, I think in this class especially, you're looking at guys that are, you take a Tyler Younger, for example, the edge player from over in Georgia. He's just got all the measurables. He's got the athleticism, a lot of things that are really raw there that I think you look at him and you say, okay, now this guy could really develop in time, and he might be better than some of the guys who are more highly rated at this point. So I think you probably see several guys, in this class that maybe they look at and see that way. Darius White, the corner from over in Georgia, I mean, he fits the bill, kind of what Alabama is, the profile that they've looked for in a cornerback. He's 6'3", he's long, athletic, got the frame to fill out, got a lot of tools, a lot of athleticism, and he's a guy that you can take and develop. So I think what you're saying is exactly right. There's so many guys in this particular class that are more developmental that you would say in terms of not necessarily being the highly rated guys.
Besides the question of who's going to be the starting quarterback, Kalen DeBoer, Tampa SEC Media Days next week, Rodney, what do you think would be the most common question or maybe the most difficult for him to answer outside of the quarterback, or were you serious about Penn State or Michigan?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the offensive line. I think are you going to get tougher up front? Really on both sides of the ball. You got to be able to run the ball better, and you've got to be much better stopping the run. But I think most people, I'm hearing it actually more than the quarterbacks, is what about the offensive line? Are we going to be able to run the football better? Are we going to be physical? And, people look at it and kind of say Alabama appeared to be soft at times last year and in the last 2 years, lining up, trying to block people and not really having much success in the run game. So I think it's the run game, the offensive line. Are they going to be able to, under Adrian Clem, who kind of has that, the reputation of being a real physical-minded offensive line coach, and are they going to get better and stronger in the trenches?
In regards to fans follow recruiting, is there anything that is on the radar screen outside of tomorrow with Sales? Is there anything else on the horizon that Bama fans need to be paying attention to?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head anything in particular. Things change, as you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
Over the course of time. And I think, too, that you always want to be ready to in the fall, when you evaluate, because guys emerge that either you say, oh, they came to our camp, now we're seeing them in the fall, and they've really blossomed. So I think you always have those, and I think probably those would be more of the prospects that would be more likely to emerge for Alabama.
Rodney Orr of TiderInsider joining us here on Three Man Front, as he customarily does, and he joins us on the Higginbotham hotline. As far as players maybe under the radar, maybe projected in the first 22, but one of those players or maybe a couple, Rodney, that nobody's really talking about that could emerge and be big this season for Kalen DeBoer. Who comes to mind?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Up front offensively, Jackson Lloyd is a guy I've kind of said he's going to be very interesting to watch, because I know that you listen to the chatter inside the building and they say he's a future first-round left tackle. And you remember Grubb didn't waste any time last spring when he was asked about Jackson Lloyd and the competition there at left tackle, and he said there is no competition. So obviously they have a lot of confidence in him. It's really important because this might be the most, along with the quarterbacks, this is a really important spot, right, up front offensively. So Jackson Lloyd's going to be a guy that I'm really going to watch. And I would even say on the other side, who merges as the right tackle? Is it Javen James, which they moved him over there, the transfer from Mississippi State? He played left tackle there. Those are two really key spots, I think, to watch. So those would be a couple of guys.
Rodney Orr, TiderInsider, a few more minutes. In regards to maybe some of the buzz you're hearing in off-season workouts, is there a player or two that you're hearing really good things about that perhaps maybe when they get into fall camp that they might continue to turn heads?
I tell you what I'm hearing more than anything is just, how David Ballou has really pushed them and used this Indiana game, the performance that they had against Indiana, to really motivate them is somewhat of obviously using it as an embarrassment. And so I think that they're using that. That's what I've heard more than anything, is just how it's been used as motivation for the players and to push them. And, I've heard it's been pretty intense, but here's the thing. And look, you guys know this, and I try to present some of this stuff to TiderInsider people, and they've jumped on me. Most people are taking what we call the Missouri approach right now. They're saying, yeah, we heard all this stuff last year. We heard they're going to be tougher. We heard they laid down the law, and then they come out and lay an egg against FSU. Yeah, they had the great run, but then at the end of the year, they really tailed off. They just weren't physically tough, and it really showed up in the Georgia game, and then it showed up again in the Indiana games. So I think really people are, to me, the things I'm hearing, the feedback I'm getting is, hey, we just want to see it. We're tired of hearing it. Let's see it.
That is Rodney Orr, TiderInsider. You can find him there on X, TiderInsider, TiderInsider.com. Rodney, we always appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Stay hydrated, and we'll talk to you next week, and I'm sure plenty to talk about.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Rodney Orr, TiderInsider, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
DraftKings is live in 50 states. Yes, that means you, Alabama, as well. The Cup is down to its final matches. One trophy, one champion. DraftKings has you covered every single one. The DraftKings app is now live in Alabama, so whether you're catching that early kickoff before work, that late match at the bar, you're in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app. Right here in Alabama, the world's biggest stage in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign in with code JOX945. Spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards over 21 days. That's code JOX945. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days to click to claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year, ends July 19th. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo.
Reaction to what Rodney Orr just told us. We'll do it next on Three Man Front.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Jeff Jarrett, great to see you.
In this business, the story behind the scenes, so much more entertaining than what you see on camera.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman.
Mr. Heyman, you are a master at the little things. That's how you turn good into great.
What does it take to achieve greatness? Whatever it takes, I'm willing to do.
That's an Emmy-winning performance.
How about it?
Insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.